Do you ever find yourself there? It's Sunday afternoon. Maybe the clock has just ticked past 3, and a subtle shift occurs. The weekend's light, airy feeling begins to dissipate, replaced by a growing knot of apprehension. That familiar sense of dread starts to creep in, casting a shadow over the remaining hours of freedom. If this sounds all too familiar, you're certainly not alone. This phenomenon, affectionately known as the Sunday Scaries, or sometimes the Sunday Blues or Sunday Night Dread, is a widely recognized experience. It describes that anticipatory anxiety and apprehension many of us feel as the weekend winds down and the demands of the upcoming work or school week loom large. Research consistently shows that a significant majority of workers, particularly younger generations like Gen Z and millennials, experience these feelings regularly. For some, it might begin subtly around 3:58 p.m., a rather specific average cited in some surveys, while for others, the sensation might start earlier, lingering throughout the entire afternoon and evening. Today, we're going to unpack why these feelings happen, and more importantly, explore a practical routine you can adopt to manage and even diminish their grip. So, what exactly are the Sunday Scaries beyond just a bad mood? At its core, it's a form of anticipatory anxiety, meaning it's driven by the apprehension of potential negative outcomes in the week ahead. It's your mind's way of preparing, sometimes over-preparing for what might be difficult or demanding. And these feelings don't just stay in your head. They can manifest in both mental and physical ways, making the end of the weekend feel heavy. Mentally, you might experience a profound sense of dread, restlessness, or even anger and irritability, intrusive thoughts about work, feelings of anxiety or mild depression, an inability to focus on enjoyable weekend activities, and in some more intense cases, even feelings of an existential crisis can surface. Physically, your body might respond with an upset stomach, tension headaches, a race in heartbeat, difficulty breathing, and frustratingly, difficulty falling or staying asleep on Sunday night. It's a full-body experience of stress. But why do these feelings arise? The causes are often multifaceted and interconnected, like pieces of a puzzle forming this unwelcome picture. Let's break down some of the main contributors. Firstly, and perhaps most obviously, is work-related stress. Heavy workloads, demanding jobs, high-stress environments, difficult colleagues, impending deadlines, and a long list of unfinished tasks are major fuel for the Sunday Scaries. If you consistently feel overwhelmed by your job, it's natural for that dread to build as the work week approaches. Secondly, a significant factor is work-life imbalance. When we're overworked, heading towards burnout, and feel a lack of control over our professional lives, it can be incredibly draining. The weekend becomes a frantic attempt to recover, and the thought of returning to that imbalance on Monday can be deeply unsettling. Beyond these external pressures, psychological factors play a crucial role. Anticipatory anxiety is key, but it's often amplified by what psychologists call catastrophizing, exaggerating potential negative outcomes. We start imagining the worst-case scenarios for the week ahead, making everything seem much more daunting than it might actually be. Procrastination also feeds into this, as unfinished tasks from the previous week can add to the Monday morning pressure. In more severe, persistent cases, these symptoms might even overlap with or indicate a more generalized anxiety disorder, and it's important to recognize that distinction. Practically, giving relatable examples. Then there are our lifestyle habits. Think about social jet lag, that feeling you get when your weekend sleep schedule shifts dramatically from your weekday one. Or perhaps you've packed your weekend so full of activities that you haven't truly had a chance to rest. And for many of us, the inability to fully unplug from work, constantly checking emails or thinking about projects, means the weekend never truly offers a mental break, blurring the lines and making the Sunday transition harder. Finally, sometimes the dread stems from a deeper misalignment and societal pressures. If your job doesn't align with your personal strengths or interests, or if you feel caught in the pervasive hustle culture that constantly prioritizes work, it's much harder to find true rejuvenation on the weekend. The thought of returning to something that doesn't feel right can understandably create significant anxiety. Understanding the why is the first step. Now let's explore the how, a practical routine to manage these feelings. It's about building a bridge from the calm of Sunday into the demands of Monday, rather than a jarring collision. One of the most effective strategies is planning and preparation. On Sunday, take a short amount of time, perhaps 15 to 30 minutes, to organize your week schedule. Prioritize key tasks for Monday, even if it's just 2 or 3 crucial items. A brain dump can be incredibly helpful. Write down all those anxieties, to-dos, and worries that are swirling in your head. Getting them out onto paper can make them feel less overwhelming and more manageable. It's like clearing a cluttered desk for a fresh start. Next, dedicate time to mindfulness and relaxation. This isn't about ignoring your feelings, but acknowledging them and creating space for calm. Practice deep breathing exercises, try a guided meditation, take a relaxing bath, read a good book, or engage in light physical activity like a walk. These activities help anchor you in the present moment, reducing the mind's tendency to race ahead to future worries. Crucially, set boundaries. Disconnect from work emails and notifications during the weekend. Seriously consider not checking them after a certain point on Friday afternoon, and definitely avoid them on Sunday. Establishing a clear separation between your work life and your personal time is vital for mental recharge. Your weekend is your time to replenish, not to be on call. Another powerful strategy is creating positive anticipation. Plan something enjoyable for your Sunday evening, a special dinner, a movie, a call with a friend. Even better, plan something small to look forward to on Monday morning, perhaps a favorite coffee, listening to a podcast on your commute, or a short walk before starting work. These small anchors of positivity can help shift your mindset away from dread. And of course, foundational self-care is paramount. Prioritize adequate sleep throughout the weekend, trying to keep your bedtime and wake-up times relatively consistent to avoid that social jet lag. Fuel your body with good nutrition, and actively seek social connection. Spending time with loved ones can be a wonderful antidote to isolation and stress. Now, while individual routines are incredibly powerful, it's also important to acknowledge a larger discussion. Are the Sunday Scaries primarily an individual's responsibility to manage, or do they point to deeper systemic problems in work culture, work-life balance, and employer demands? This is a key debate. While personal coping mechanisms are essential, we must also recognize that persistent and severe Sunday Scaries can indeed be a red flag, pointing to underlying burnout or even the need for a career change if job dissatisfaction is profound. For some, the blur of remote and hybrid work models has exacerbated this, making it even harder to mentally disengage from work. We're seeing more discussion about the responsibility of employers to foster healthier environments, moving beyond wellness washing to genuine support.
Ultimately, the Sunday Scaries are a real, common experience, a signal from our minds and bodies that something is out of balance. By understanding their underlying causes and implementing a thoughtful, consistent routine, focusing on planning, relaxation, boundaries, positive anticipation, and self-care, we can significantly reduce their impact. It's about being proactive, not reactive, and building a more peaceful, manageable transition into the week. Remember, it's not about eradicating all professional stress, but about cultivating resilience and designing a life and work rhythm that feels more sustainable and less daunting. Take these steps, be patient with yourself, and remember that creating a calmer Monday begins with a more mindful Sunday. You have the power to reshape this experience.